And yes, welcome to Magi Monday. It is the very last episode of the original launching of the 52 cards, 52 weeks. And today, the last week of winter gets kicked off that is represented by the master himself, the card of great power, great responsibility, the King of Spades. And today I am joined by a king that may not look like the king that is in your mental mind right now. Please welcome a fellow Order of the Magi, Rangadevi Rasi, also of Govinda's Catering. Welcome to the show, Rangadevi. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you, Andrea. You're so warm. Gosh, I feel super excited.
Yay! I know. So it's super rare, right, to be born a king of spades because there's only one birthday, and that birthday would be what?
January 1st. Yeah,
January
January 1st.
1st.
And
January
not
1st.
not one of the most popular birthdays.
I bet it can be, right? Because people want to be like the first, have the first baby of the year.
No, I said it's not one of the most popular birthdays.
Oh,
Like there just aren't that many people born on January 1st.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was like,
No,
that
my parents would have preferred I was born on December 31st. But
really, and what a difference
well,
that would
because
have
for the
made,
tax exemption.
right? That
Because
would have
even
made.
if a baby's born on December 31st, you get to claim them for the whole previous year, you know.
I see. Right. I know. Like so and then that's crazy too, because you go from the one card that I have not addressed is the
Oh, the
Joker.
Joker.
And
Yeah.
the Joker is that December 31st birthday. So you go from either you're gonna be a Joker, like if you're in the laboring throes in the middle of the night, you're gonna either birth a Joker who's like the chameleon of the deck, can truly take on any personality, right? Or you birth a master. You birth the King of Spades. So all King of Spades are Capricorns by birth, and they have the Five of Clubs as their planetary ruling card. However, one thing I like you to know, there's only one birthday of this card's energy signature. However, there are people who can have the King of Spades as their ruling card, their planetary
Mhm.
ruling card. But I like interviewing people who have these unique birthdays, and that is you. So when the King of Spades, what does that mean to you? I know because you're also in the Order of the Magi. You are certified through Robert Lee Camp's program. And yeah, when you think about the King of Spades and what it is to be one, what comes up for you?
Well, it's funny actually. One of our fellow students asked me one time, she was like, "What's it like being the king of spades?" And I was like,
Seriously.
I mean, I don't know what it's like to not be the king of spades, at least in this lifetime. So, it
Right.
doesn't fill me with awe for,
Okay.
it's just kind of like, hmm. But I thought a lot about it. And when you asked me that question, when you're saying you might ask a question of like, what's one word
Yeah.
that would describe, and my word is conflicted. Um,
Oh,
because the five of clubs is so diametrically opposed to a king.
yes.
So I do feel like actually Robert's little nickname for that card is the king who would not be king, and I
Yes.
think that's very accurate. Um,
That is very interesting. And you're talking, and this would be specifically for those born on January 1st that have these two cards as their essence.
right.
Because so let's unpack
Not
that
the
a
other
little bit,
kings.
right? Like the kings are considered the masters along with the kings. They are the not I was gonna say the role models of the suit, but like the highest power of the suit. They're the masters of the suit and whatever it is. And here we're talking about a spade that has so much to do with our work, our career, our health. It is also a very spiritual uh, symbol, I would say.
Mm.
And so you go from like the master, like the power, and then you juxtapose that with your Saturn card, which is that five of clubs. And the fives are all about change. They're all about like, you know, flowing with the wind and maybe not settling down, not making commitments. It's the change card, it's a restless card, and of the mind. The club is about the mind. So,
Yeah.
so conflicted.
I think so. I mean, that's my experience. So I think, but when you get these two energies together, I think it really creates somebody who's like an independent free agent.
Mm.
Like they're not going to work for somebody else, but it's also very challenging to kind of like take responsibility for an organization, even though they have the power.
Yes.
They because I was trying to think about other King of Spades that I know,
Hmm.
and I don't know them well, but I know of like at least three other King of Spades. And
Hmm.
one of them is actually, she is actually heading up an organization. She runs a commercial kitchen. So I'm a caterer, so I'm
Yes.
familiar, and I've started out at this commercial kitchen, but she was not running it at the time. She was like the manager, and then there was another man who was like the director.
Okay.
But she'd been there for many, she'd been there for many years. So that's also another thing, is that the King of Spades is a fixed card. So that's very
Huge.
prominent. Yeah,
Yes.
it's just like we just do what we're gonna do.
Right.
And and it might be, if you don't have a good opinion of it, that might be painful for us, but we can't like switch. You just can't, like, this is what I'm doing and I'm so sorry, and it tears me up that you don't like it, but I
I'm
can't
not,
even stop
I'm
myself.
not, yeah, 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 yeah. So there you see that the king is stronger than the five. Like, I'm not going to change my mind. And you just brought up something really, really significant about this card, that being one of the three fixed cards in the deck. And this card is fixed in the crown line. So it is that the last card every time you quadrate the deck.
Hmm.
It returns to that position in the crown line. It's the Saturn card, right? The
Hmm.
Saturn
Yeah, the Saturn
for the
crown
crown
line.
line.
Hmm.
And and those fixed cards, yes, because one, they don't move and experience the other energies that are present with the other cards in the deck. And other people don't visit them, like drop little gifts off at their doorstep, like I'm visiting your spot this year.
Yeah.
There is this fixed energy. It's difficult to, would you say, to change your mind? Is that part of it? I know that's definitely part of the Eight of Clubs and Jack of Hearts being the other two fixed cards in the deck. Um,
Yeah, I'm not even so sure if it's as much like a mental fixedness as just like a fixedness of being, like this is, or and doing, like this is
Determination.
what we're doing. And also, I mean, also, two of the semi-fixed cards are in our life spread. So the Venus card, and which is actually my decanate ruling card. I don't know that all King of Spades have a decanate ruling card,
Okay.
or if it was just because I happen to be born in Iceland. So, you know.
Oh, fascinating. Okay.
Yeah, so
And
so I
like,
do have the Ace of Clubs as my decanate ruling card, which I definitely find a strong influence in my personality for sure.
how so? To share.
Well, the like love of learning. Like I've done
Mm.
a lot of different things, a lot of different jobs. Like I always like I'm very curious about things. I always want to understand how things work, even if
Yes.
I don't necessarily want to do them. I have to know how it works.
Yeah.
And the Ace of Clubs is like super perfectionist.
Mm.
When Robert described that to me, I think his son's girlfriend is an Ace of Clubs, and she found out that pecan pie was his favorite pie. But she set out to make like the world's greatest pecan pie, and I was like, that is me exactly.
Yep.
I'm
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I'm not
take this.
necessarily like the quintessential business person, but I'm just like, I want to make the best vegan gluten-free food on the planet.
And that okay. So is that part of the mastery that comes with the master, the master card, like that you want to be the master, you want to
I think I
it,
think so. I think so. I mean, I will go ahead and admit that even as like a young child, like that was like the greatest ambition, is like I should leave some sort of legacy. I should be famous, and I would even like, what would it say on my tombstone? Like, like I have to live some sort of life of significance, not
well,
just like be famous and look at me, but that it like, it should be important and significant, and I should have made some contribution to the world.
and do you think that that's part of that crown line? They say often that people of the crown line feel that way, that they're like that there is a crowning achievement to be had in their life.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so interesting. I hadn't specifically thought about that, but that could very well be.
Okay.
That could very well be. I definitely, it does kind of apply. You'll hear Robert sometimes say, like, people in the crown then just kind of like look down and say, like, well, those rules apply to those people down there. And that is true.
I
That
feel
is
like that is true.
yeah,
That
that
is
is true. It's not like I'm not, like I don't and I think also as a Capricorn, like Capricorns are really into being egalitarian,
yeah.
which I think is also a reason why there's a conflict with like just assuming that role of the king. Because
Mhm.
it's like you want to be a servant leader. Like, okay, if I'm going to lead, I really do want to empower those underneath me. Like, I don't get off on lording it over. Like, that's not like
Okay.
exciting.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
maybe a Leo, but
Mhm.
so that's another thing. But it's just like, but it's again that like independent free agent. Like that's what those people are doing, and I'm not doing that. Like whatever.
Right. And that's might be why it is recommended perhaps that if you are a king, whether you are king of spades, diamonds, clubs, or hearts, you might have an ability to see things that are just not the way that you want, to lead or to do things where you're like, I'm not going to take that from somebody else. Like I'm just going to do it my way. And I think specifically
Yes.
King of Spades being the King of Kings. Again, I've said this over and over throughout the winter season as we talked about the suit of the spades. It's often considered the whatever of the whatever, like the nine of nines, the King of
Yeah.
Kings, all of this. It's like takes that power because it is the north, it is the winter, it is that it pulls in the energy of the other cards to a certain degree that makes it just strong and potent and powerful. And let's talk a little bit about work. So you just mentioned you are a caterer and a very niche caterer. Did you just say
Yes.
gluten-free?
Vegan and gluten free because not because I was vegan or gluten free actually either, but I mean this is just the kind of thing like so like a business person will think like okay, what's in demand, like Simon Cowell. My daughter's
Yes.
really into watching both America's Got Talent and Britain's Got Talent,
Oh yeah.
so I discovered that he's a two of diamonds.
Okay.
um and he's actually the Libra two of diamonds, which is the same birthday as my ex-husband, which made me instantly less excited about Simon Cowell, but he's his own person. And
Yes. Yes.
but like but he's got a really good sense, and honestly, to be fair, my ex does too. Like they just have a really good sense of like what's going to sell, what's trending, what's you know
Yeah.
like like
Yeah.
what's flashy and hot. Like they know that.
That
um
business savvy.
and yeah, but I don't approach business like that. I was just like, oh, this is the thing that nobody's doing it, why don't I do it and specialize in it?
I love that because and that's like such a great difference to see between a spade and a diamond. I think that a spades do the work for the love of the work. And then
Absolutely,
certainly
100%.
and for you mastering it, right? Like just I'm
Yeah,
gonna
and
do
I did, and I wanted to be like, I want to like for me, it's super exciting. Like, let me find a really good recipe and see if I can make it vegan and gluten free.
this.
And I always get really excited, which happens sometimes.
Yeah.
That it happens sometimes that people are like, "Oh, I didn't even realize your stuff was gluten free. I thought I was cheating." Or
Ah,
at my one farmers market that I usually attend in person, I happen to be right next to the music tent often.
yeah.
And there was a lady who came last week, and she has discovered that she has a very severe gluten intolerance. And she was a
Mm.
foodie, so
Hmm.
she's so
Oh,
sad. She has other allergies too, but
devastating.
she was like, yeah, she had to cut out all these things
Oh.
from her diet. And she tasted something, and she actually said, "Oh my God, it doesn't taste like cardboard." And the musician stopped playing. He stopped like
Oh,
in mid-song, and he was like, "That
that's
is a Facebook moment. You should have recorded that and put it on Instagram and Facebook. That should be your
I
advertising."
know, or just like the reviews, like yes, 5 stars. Oh my gosh, it doesn't taste like cardboard.
Yeah, and then she came back before the end of the market. She said they got a few things, like I think two different things, and then she said we were leaving Wake Forest, and I put one of those cookies in my mouth, and I had to come back and get
Oh
some
my
more.
gosh. It's like, yeah,
So I
before
was
I
so
leave.
excited. I was like, yes, this is why I do what I do, because everybody should feel that way about their food. I think boring food is a curse.
I love that. And I love that passion. And that is a Perfect, perfect, perfect example of how, again, not necessarily even the king, but just how a spade might approach work. Like really like I'm doing the work because I am so passionate and driven by it. It's about the work versus you had mentioned the diamond. The diamond is about, well, I do this so that, right? Like what am
Mhm.
I going to get out of it? Whereas the spade is like I'm doing the work because I'm doing the work. We are the workhorses of the of humanity. I think honestly, we came here to work and
Yeah,
to work in
and
that
I mean,
way.
for me, it is honestly there. I think, both the king and the ace of clubs, it's like I'm doing the work and I want it to be perfect. Like I want to perfect this work.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
you know,
interesting.
I mean, at this point, like I don't desire to be like on any cooking magazine, but I just want to know, like, I made like the best product that I could make, and like I'm excited about it. So
Yes, yes,
that's a big
and
thing.
then the people who receive from you are just what a gift. That's really lovely. I love that. So we had in many of the episodes here on Magi Monday over the last 52 weeks, we've talked a great deal about karma cards because I do think that that is an important indicator of understanding what I say. Like karma one is like our soul challenge, and karma two is our soul gift. So understanding our gifts and our challenges in this lifetime. And here we are with the King of Spades, who is a very unique karmic imprint. Do you want to share a little bit about what it means to be in that special family of seven and your interpretation of that? Or do you, yeah.
Well, it's I mean, like we were saying that there really is a very fixed quality when you're one of those, and I well, this is actually never mind. I don't want to like preempt your question, but it's coming to my mind is that you were kind of like one of your questions, like what advice would you give to somebody who's like just discovering that they're a king of spades? And
Yeah.
I mean, you really can't say enough about self-acceptance and, the
Mhm.
power that you gain through self-acceptance and just understanding that this is the way you are, you are fixed. And not that you can't grow and change, but like not to waste unnecessary time feeling bad that you can't be
Oh,
whatever somebody else's idea of what you should be. Because it's just not
absolutely.
going to happen.
Right, 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 right. And that's one of the things that I think for me, like whether you're a fixed card or not, when I was hearing my soul essence as reflected in the cards, it's just like, this is my soul signature. This is who I came to be. And it does. The system gives you acceptance and gives you permission to be authentically you. So this family of seven that we're talking about, these are the three fixed cards. Again, the King of Spades, the Eight of Clubs, and the Jack of Hearts. And then there are four cards that are called semi-fixed, and we've already mentioned
Mhm.
that Ace of Clubs. The other side is the Two of Hearts. And then isn't isn't it your lifetime result card, the Seven of
Yes.
Diamonds?
Oh, yeah, yeah, I meant to say that. Yeah, so
Millionaire's
yes, so
card.
every other year, I have either the Ace of Clubs or the Two of Hearts in Venus.
Yeah.
And every other year I have either the Seven of Diamonds or the Nine of
Yes.
Hearts as a cosmic reward.
That is
Uh,
so interesting.
very interesting for sure. Very
Especially
interesting.
I see like the Seven of Diamonds and Nine of Hearts. It feels like that one has a harsh energy difference between, Venus, Venus, Saturn, Saturn. Oof. I don't
Yeah,
know.
well, yeah, and I mean, but like sevens have that magic where they can really go either way. I mean, both sevens and nines do
Yeah,
actually,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, depending on where your mind is. But one thing which is super interesting, which you'll hear Robert say is that he doesn't have an explanation for the science of it, but you'll often find these like fixed and semi-fixed cards together. So I
Yes.
have two siblings. One
Okay.
is the Eight of Clubs and one is the Jack of Hearts.
No way. I love that. I love
And I,
that.
I thought, oh, my poor mom.
I know. And then yeah, like giving birth to all these kids where you're like, you're not gonna change their mind. You're not gonna get them to do like to move a little bit differently. But just to also understand that you're part of this special what's called the family of seven. And I just lost my question in that. Oh yeah, does it feel have you felt in your lifetime that you're maybe just a little bit different from other people. They say that sometimes if you're part of this fixed family, I'm not this fixed family, part of this special family of seven, you are sort of different and you maybe feel like I'm not like everybody else.
Sure. Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, not so far as like, sometimes I've had done a lot of learning about like the autism spectrum.
Yeah.
One of my children is pretty sure on the autism spectrum at least,
Mhm.
but and they often describe like feeling like an alien on
Yeah.
another planet. So not so much like that, but I definitely always felt like yeah, I was meant to be somewhere else. That the like this yeah, just like yeah, like this all of this like mundane moving pieces parts just trying to survive like that's not that no I that's not from where I'm from like
Oh, that's
there
so
are fairies and magic and otherworldly things and I ended up taking up a spiritual path really seriously at a pretty young age and
okay.
moving into an ashram so I spent
Wow.
10 years in an ashram um
Wow.
mhm, and yeah and traveled and yeah definitely yeah, the regular is not what I do.
I'm just looking, I put my glasses on, so I'm looking at like all the cards in your roadmap. And it's really yeah, that seven of hearts, seven of diamonds, Pluto result as those spiritual lifts there for you. But wow, 7 or 10 years of your life in an ashram.
Mhm, yeah.
Do we
Yeah, well, yes, which immediately followed, 2 years of my life, like, living on the road, hitchhiking around on the road.
that's
So,
very that feels very five of clubs-ish, just
yes,
to
yeah, I'm sure,
wander
yes.
and to be like, yeah, the
Yeah,
dream.
like, yeah, we're gonna travel and follow the dead, and we're gonna go to the rainbow gatherings, and,
Oh wow.
but I was close with my family and it was important to me what my parents thought. So I always kind of like mused that divine arrangement was such that I went through that very like wild stage of life so that when I moved into the ashram, my parents were like it was like a relief, it was like an upgrade.
Oh.
Because they would have been like, "Oh my God, she dropped out of college and now she's celibate and what's going to happen?" But they were
Right.
like, "Well, at least we know where she's living.
She's
She
safe.
she's safe, she's not doing drugs, she's clean,
Yeah.
she's healthy, so okay, it's
And
better."
she put herself there. Like she chose
Yeah,
this, right?
yeah,
It's not like off you go to the ashram. No, you
yeah.
chose that. You chose that. Were you looking? I'm wondering if that is part of that soul desire for self-mastery that is embedded again in that king. The kings
Mm,
really have the ability to understand and help people understand that our wisdom comes from within. It doesn't come from outside sources. We can gather information, but how we internalize and how we grow, how we evolve is an internal thing, how we heal ourselves, how we learn to love ourselves, have that compassion for our uniqueness.
mm.
Part of
Um,
mastery.
I don't remember if you were asking me a question,
I
but
don't
I
think.
was just so excited. I was so excited by what you were saying, though, because Um, that was something that I forgot that the King of Spades is about self-mastery, like, and I think I've spent a lot of time, like, focusing on mastery, like, actual, like, mastery of
Oh,
skills
yeah.
or
Hmm.
mastery of knowledge, but I do feel like spiritually I'm held to a really high standard, like, I feel like God holds me to a really high standard, but
Yeah.
when you said that, I was like, "Oh, that's very interesting. It must be because that's what I want." I
Yeah.
hadn't I let like I don't sit around consciously thinking like, I wanna master myself and,
Right.
I really don't
Right,
think
right,
about
right.
that, you
Do
know?
you remember well, I would like to know this. When you found out that you were the King of Spades, when you discovered these cards or when the cards found you, what was that experience like to know like because I remember, getting my cards. I'm a four of spades, 10 of diamonds, and there's, some pretty special uniqueness around the 10 of diamonds card. It's talked about
Mhm.
a lot. But then,
Yeah.
I just wonder what it would be like to be like, dun, 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 you're the most powerful card in the deck.
Um, yeah, I never really felt that. I think, definitely part of my journey, in the past, well I don't know, 20 years or something, has been about growing in confidence.
Mm.
Um, and there have even been times. So I mean, we brought it up, and I talk about him a lot, and that's because Robert was my personal mentor when I went through
Yeah.
the Magi card training
Yes.
course. So so I did have the benefit of a lot of personal counsel by him. But yeah, I think one time I wanted to, I had something, and he was like, "What's the? I don't understand. What's the holdup? You're the king of spades. You just do it, and just like if anybody has an issue, just like who cares? You're the king of spades." But I don't go. I don't walk around feeling like that. Like
Oh,
I
that's so
really.
because you're just like, this is just me. But from the outside, yeah, that's kind of how I was like, wait, what? You're, yeah, what is it
Um,
like? What's it like?
well, no, I mean, because it
Mhm.
really, like, I do think there's a lot of that inner conflict. Like you have,
Mhm.
I do think, as the king of spades, you can't help it. Like you are a leader.
Mhm.
You have the capacity to manage many things and take responsibility.
Mhm.
And at the same time, you still like always are yearning for that freedom. Like you don't really want to be tied down and like I don't want to do the same thing every day. And that was a really challenging thing for me with this business. I was a solopreneur.
Yes.
And then actually I was in some like business women's programs and things like that and trying to like actually grow the business. And that was a very difficult thing to come to the realization that it was not possible to grow the business without having employees
Mm.
and becoming a team leader. Like a team leader, it's not a natural slot. It's not a natural
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm growing into it. I mean, I have employees. I have I don't know. It just depends. Anywhere from like 2 to 9 employees probably at any given time, and, then
Yeah.
you have to, like, manage where they're going, and that actually that doesn't bother me,
Okay.
really, but, like, yeah, feeling like, like, I'm a team leader and I'm gonna, like, set the culture for the company. It's just, like, I don't like to think about those kind
It's
of
not
things.
necessarily in that regard. However, if it were reversed, like, would you work well for a boss? Would you?
I mean, I already know that. I've had a lot of different jobs and and I didn't last like at any job I think for more than 3 years, which was hard. Like I took that
Mm.
hard because I guess because I am fixed, but also I describe myself as a completionist. Like when I start something, like
Mhm.
if I don't finish it, it really bothers me. It's like,
Mm.
no, 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 I have to finish this and then I can move on with my world. But,
Interesting.
so it really bothered me that I couldn't have longevity at these jobs, but I've had this business for 13 years.
Oh, there you go. And so once you stepped in and were like, I'm going to do my own business.
Yeah,
And now with growth, right? You do like, especially in catering, I couldn't imagine doing all that you do from the cooking to the like getting it into the farmers markets and the marketing and the this and the that. And so
it's a lot of
yes,
hats.
yeah, taking that. And so you're naturally sort of forced into leadership, but I see what you're saying. It's different. It's not like I came here to lead the masses type
Right.
of energy. And instead it's like, well, this is how I'm suited to be. And so I am going to lead
Mhm.
and, take responsibility for how this evolves and, um, and yeah, and just see how how that fits, how that goes. So very cool. Very cool. So once again, it's called Govinda's Catering.
Mhm. Govinda's Catering, yeah.
And what is Govinda? Is that a
Govinda is my favorite name. It's a name for Krishna or God, but it means,
oh.
yeah, it means, the pleaser of the cows, because Krishna is always seen with cows. He
Mhm.
herds cows, but it also means the pleaser of the senses. Um,
Ooh, I love that.
yeah. Yeah, because if you think about it, like, I mean, that's the thing is that God is actually the most beautiful person and who like fills up our senses. And it's not like the scary God who like we worship just because we're scared to do otherwise.
Right,
It's not
right,
like
right. The
that.
wrath of
It's
like
like,
doing it out of
yeah.
here.
No,
Mm.
it's like it's the most, God, Govinda's the most beautiful, the most intelligent, the most attractive, the wealthiest actually. Like all
Oh,
of those like superlatives are there in
mo-
God.
beautiful, beautiful. So if people want to contact you to hear a little bit more about your catering, you're local, right, to North Carolina, is that's where
We
you're?
are, yeah, we
Yes.
never like I have yet to attract like a shipping magnate to myself. but I've had inquiries and I was like, somebody could take this on, but it's a whole, it's a whole other thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it
So yeah,
changes it. It
yeah,
changes
I haven't specialized in that, but
the
it's govinduscateringus.com.
okay. Okay, great. And I'll put that in the link. And at this point, if you want some of the most masterful, beautiful, made with love food, get yourself on an airplane, get yourself to North Carolina, and that's where you can taste it and say, this doesn't taste like cardboard, right? Was that
Yes.
when
Yes, yes, we serve the Greater Triangle area, so that's like Durham, Chapel Hill, Raleigh, Wake Forest, Pittsboro kind of area.
Okay, that is beautiful, beautiful. And then I would be curious to know if you have a last little bit of advice for somebody who knows and loves a King of Spades. How can we love the King of Spades that are in our lives better?
That was so bad. The first thing to go along with their program.
Yeah, get on board. Get on board.
which which maybe that's now I just became a hypocrite because I was like, I'm not like all about, being the boss, but then it's like but it is a slightly different. It's not like I don't want to like sit around and be your boss, but like give me the freedom to be me. Like that is a
Oh,
essential because that's the five of clubs and the
yes.
king. Like you can't.
That's beautifully said. Give me the freedom to be me. The five of clubs, the freedom and to be
Yeah.
me, like strong in my power,
Mhm.
because you are powerful. And if you did want to take your catering business and attract in all the things to make it worldwide, I know that you could. It's just a question of, is that what feels soul aligned for you right now? And it's not always the case. Just because you can doesn't mean you have to, right?
Right. Yeah, no, and that's yeah, it's always the question. I will say that I really do feel that five of clubs very strongly is that I spend a lot of time thinking about other places that I could be and other doing. And then I end up like I continue on with what I'm doing and like, the beat goes on. But like there's like I always things and I'm like, oh, maybe I should do that job. Maybe that would
Well,
pay more.
I mean, that's a good
Go to
point.
that.
A very good point. Do you feel like you achieve like a certain level of mastery and then you're ready for the next adventure and to become the master of that?
Well, yes, actually, and I know for a fact that that's something that happens even in my business, like even not like jumping ship and traveling, but like once I get something down, like
Hmm.
a smart business person would be like, awesome, we've got this down, we can be efficient at it because that's what you have to do. You have
Yep.
to build an efficiency, like then you'll know like what you need to buy. You can calculate your profit margins, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I have a really hard time, like, even though, like, I'm like, "Oh, this is what I should do," but once I've done it, I don't wanna do it again. It's boring. I don't wanna, like I don't wanna just, like, press repeat, and now we're just gonna press repeat, and we're gonna churn out a nice profit. I'm like, "Whatever." I wanna, like, figure out if I can make that next recipe vegan and gluten-free and make it awesome,
I
and
love
that's what's interesting.
that is that I mean that is a beautiful through the love of cooking to share really very much the soul essence of the January 1st. And I know we spoke a lot about the five of clubs, and it's because there is one and only one birthday of the
Yeah.
365 possible days that you can be born. Only one birthday where you get to come in as the king and have that strong five of clubs energy. Again, for those of you that have the King of Spades as your planetary ruling card, just be reminded that no matter what, the five of clubs is part of your soul essence. It is still your Saturn card. It is a strong influence in this conflicted king. I really learned a lot, and I think it's amazing because I think because you were the King of Spades, right? Robert's like, I need to be the mentor. I will mentor.
Yeah, I think he was curious. I think he was just really curious.
Hmm.
And I just thought of one thing, and then I'll be quiet. But
Yeah. Oh
I
no,
think
please.
that, I almost think that people who have the King of Spades as a planetary ruling card are probably more King of Spades, because they don't have that Five of Clubs conflict. So
That is
I
as
have
their
to,
secondary energy. It's just
yeah,
like it's part of their roadmap, but it's not their other side of their coin. Very interesting to consider.
yeah. 'Cause I have the good fortune to be mentoring an eight of diamonds, King of
Hmm.
Spades. And I think she feels really, she just seems like she's a little more grounded and comfortable. Like she's just like, she's again not like one of like I'm gonna like be the head of a big organization and lord it over, but she's also extremely independent. Like I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, and I don't need your okay for it.
Eight of diamonds, King of Spades. Whoa, talk about some power. The eight of diamonds, all these episodes that we've referenced. Now it's all out there. You can go back and you can check the eight of diamonds video, the center of the crown line, the sun card. You can go back and look at the five of clubs video and hear more about what that essence means. So I just thank you so much for saying yes to being the very last interview of this most powerful card, the 52nd card, the final card in the deck. And as the winter draws to a close, we cross this threshold back into new beginnings. And it begins again on the spring equinox as we welcome in the season of the hearts. And we begin again with the ace, self love. And it's a journey, it's a beautiful journey. Thank you so much for being here today, Rangadevi.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yes, and I guess until next time, my friends, thank you for tuning in. Share this with any King of Spades that you know. And if you do not know what your planetary or birth cards are, there's always a link in the descriptions where you can sign up for a clarity call with me and find out a little bit about your cards and what makes you uniquely and beautifully you. So here is to love and joy in the journey. Ciao for now.
Yay.
We find that stop button.